Jam. Toon Jam.
Ho, ho, ho! And welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm J-Man.
And today you have joined us for a very special episode. The first of our festive few. It's Christmas time, baby. Maybe you love Christmas. Maybe you're a bit of a Grinch.
Oh.
But either way, you're getting Christmas episodes from now until Christmas.
No apologies.
No apologies necessary. It's Christmas time, baby. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I bet you'd forgot it, but it's Christmas time.
You wished you'd forgotten it. And now you remember it very well.
But alas, no. But today, let's jump in as we have another special. We are reviewing a new film of the sorts. It's Finding Santa: A Christmas Adventure by our friends at Copenhagen, Bombay. I don't know if you remember before. We covered Agatha Christie. Well, they've sent us Finding Santa: A Christmas Adventure to review. So this is going to be new to all of you, I've no doubt. So let me give you a bit of information about it. First of all, what it's about. It's an 8-year-old. It's about an 8-year-old. It's an 8-year-old. It's about 8-year-old Julius, who lives at an orphanage where he is a bit of an outsider. Secretly, he still believes in Santa Claus. When Julius is confronted with the fact that Santa Claus could be just the orphanage headmaster in a Santa suit, he begins to doubt not only Santa, but also himself. When Julius suddenly finds himself in a magical world, he has to restore his own faith as well as that of others. So fear not. There's a happy Christmas message here. You know, it sounds like, oh no, Julius is down in the dumps. Is this really a film that is going to say Santa isn't real? No way, because Santa is real. Don't you worry. A little bit of information about it. It's 75 minutes in length. Its target group is 6 to 12-year-olds. It was written by Jacob Lee and Sanna Monk Jensen. Apologies if I've mispronounced any of those. It's also directed by Jason Lee as well.
Jacob Lee.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jacob Lee. Sorry. Whew.
I was like, wait, what? Jason Lee directed this?
Jason Lee. Sorry, I was thinking about. I have an advent calendar just to get festive. That is tea. So every day, it's very English. I get a different cup of tea. Today's is a delightful blood orange and rooibos. And I was just thinking about taking a sip and looked away as I said Jason, because I just half read it and then went to have a sip, but then realised, no, you can't. You're in the middle of a sentence. So I didn't really need to explain all that to you, but you know.
It's part of the festive treat.
Part of the festive, yeah, I should do. You need to know that. What's interesting about this film is it was originally produced in 2016, as it is, Danish. But it's only recently been what would be the word? Not remade.
Dubbed.
Redubbed. Dubbed in general, just dubbed, not redubbed.
Yeah.
Or maybe redubbed because they've probably done several languages. Well, they have. It's in Danish, Swedish, English, and Mandarin subtitled.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. But like I was saying, what's interesting is the form of animation. It actually uses photos of like plasticine models, or thereabouts, but then animates them as like cutouts. It's not something I've seen before.
No, I think for the first 5 to 10 minutes I was scratching my head as to like, what exactly I was looking at.
Yeah.
Because, like, as it moves and stuff, it's very different to like when you see close-ups of the characters and stuff, like the details on them and stuff. You can tell there's something handmade about them, can't you? Like
Yeah.
there's like a dry brush look to a lot of their hair and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, okay, so wait, are they actually stop motion? And then but then like when their faces move and stuff, it's really fluid. So it's like I can't really. I was like, what is it?
Yeah.
What is this?
And it makes it. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of some sort of weird meld between an Aardman film and like Angela Anaconda.
Yeah, I was definitely getting Angela Anaconda vibes from it.
It is, I think, because of the photographic element, I suppose.
Yeah, the faces are really like, you get some really cool expressions out of them and stuff.
Yeah. But it also still, I mean, obviously the only other Copenhagen Bombay film I've seen is Agatha Christie. I'm guessing the same with you.
Yeah.
And it's still like, obviously the animation, the cutout part of it has a similar vibe.
Yeah.
The voice cast seems to be very familiar. But also, what I liked was that obviously they've made the models out of clay, but they still looked almost the same as the characters from Agatha Christie in their style.
Yeah, they're stylized, aren't they?
Yeah. And it was cool because it had that same feel whilst also having more of a sort of realistic plasticine look. And I'll say as well, it really fits for the type of story it is.
Yeah.
Seeing as he's going into almost like he's going into Christmas land and stuff.
Yeah.
There's something about claymation and Christmas.
And I mean, also it's like, it's this toy box, isn't it? That sort of like he goes into. So yeah, it does make sense that they look like they are toys or whatever, don't they?
Yeah.
And so some things look different than the rest as well. There's like the two, like the reindeer or whatever. They look like they're almost like more like plastic, like they've been come out of like a plastic sprue or whatever. There seems to be like seams in them in places where it's like, so wait, is that? it just makes it like really visually interesting. Like I found myself being like, oh wait, what's that?
And there's plenty to look at. I know it says the target group is 6 to 12-year-olds. There are, to be fair, actually, no, I was about to say I feel like younger, but there are some spooky bits in it, aren't there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I wondered about where their target was, because there's some bits in particular that like, wait, is this a kids film? Like, I didn't know, because I mean the same thing happened last time, didn't it? Like with the lizard in Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a turn, and suddenly it's like adult film.
Yeah.
And
I was having a bit flashbacks of the lizard. There's a certain bit, essentially in the storyline. To go into it a little bit, when he has to save Santa, he has to find him because, well, I mean, at first, all you know is that Krampus, this is what they tell you, Krampus has essentially killed Santa.
Yeah.
And put him into this, he's got a present making machine, but it breaks the presents when it puts him in, which is why he got the sack, essentially. No pun intended.
No.
Genuinely, that was quite a good one. I'm quite.
It was good.
Intended it all.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Festive times. But yeah, and so he puts Santa in this machine, and they tell you that it ripped him apart, and the elves had to bury him.
Yeah, and
it's
it's like, wait, what? Santa has been torn limb from limb and is now buried in a pile somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, well, that's messed up. And this whole flashback scene is like shown to you in kind of like these really dark, like shadow puppet type.
Yeah.
Thing,
which I must say as well, I know it was a bit too spooky, but I really liked that bit.
Yeah, I did too.
Thought it looked really cool, and it kind of gave me. It wasn't like with the Komodo dragon. I felt like this is too much.
Yeah,
I'm getting scared about it. It's going to take a horrible turn.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, I felt like it can't be. And just as, I mean, a spoiler alert, obviously this is going to be littered with spoiler alerts, but, you know, if you're looking for a film to show your kids and you're thinking, whoa, that sounds too scary, it's all cleared up. And it turns out it's just a teddy bear that he did in disguise. He isn't going to kill Santa.
No. But, I mean, even so, we got that scene where Julius finds the packages and then proceeds to open them all. So you're like, wait, is he just going to discover a severed Santa arm?
I know, it was.
There's still parts where you're like, this has gone wrong. Not...
If Santa was going to be like a toy that he was going to fix back together or something.
Oh, that would have been cool, yeah.
But, I mean, luckily... Yeah, and I feel like it cleared up the things that you was kind of worrying about through the film.
Yeah.
So, I guess the moral there is, if you're going to show it your kids, just make sure they watch the whole film.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, don't say that's scary. Turn it off, because then they'll just always think that Santa was killed by Krampus.
Yeah.
And for saying like that is such a villainous deed. Krampus himself was fairly jovial.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. Like when you actually saw him, it was like, oh, it's just like this guy. He just kind of seems like an annoying kind of guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem monstrous in any way, really.
No,
just kind of
He was naughty.
Yeah, that was it. He was just a bit of a naughty kid.
He was grade A naughty list, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, not quite the villain that you'd expect. That kills.
Don't worry, if you're thinking this hasn't got villains, look no further than two of the kids that live with Julius at the orphanage.
Oh man!
In particular, Gregory.
Oh boy!
This blonde-haired little snot.
Yeah.
That gives Julius the hardest time. But it's actually there's deep levels to it because there's him and another kid that the other kid just kind of follows Gregory whatever he does.
Squeak, isn't it?
Squeak, yeah, that's it, yeah. And they bully Julius. But it's because Julius is seen as a Christmas present because he was left on the doorstep of the orphanage. So the sort of the headmaster calls him his Christmas present, and he's always like, it's almost like he's his favourite.
Yeah.
And they're just jealous. So they're not really angry at him. They're angry at the situation. And it does explain it well. And by the end of it, they're all pals.
Yeah.
And you do kind of think like, oh yeah, it's not so bad.
There's this thing that they keep, I don't know if this was a cultural thing or not, but one of the insults that they keep calling him, and they do keep calling him it, is the little marzipan pig, which does feature in the toy box. Like Julius has his own marzipan pig, doesn't he? That he takes a bite out of, and then there's like a whole thing with him. Is that do you know if that's like a present in like?
I'm not sure myself. It could just be like a sweet that they is a Christmas sweet.
Yeah.
Or candy, as the Americans say.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure. I'm guessing it is, and it wasn't like, like it wasn't that out of place. I suppose it was kind of like, if anything, it was just more interesting.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what's?
I wouldn't like. Yeah, I wonder if like it was teaching me about.
Yeah, what is a marzipan pig? I quite like marzipan as well, so I was.
You see, I don't.
I would eat a marzipan pig for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere near. That is just foul stuff. Yeah. It offends me, marzipan. But it's always that. I think I just got horrible memories of having cake as a child, seeing this amazing looking icing on it.
Yeah.
And then you bite into it, and it's marzipan.
Yeah, it's your expectations, isn't it? That set you, put you in, because it does look like really good icing, and there's always like a chunk of it, isn't there? It's like
it's thicker, yeah. And then it doesn't taste anywhere near. Well, I think what was annoying was they always used to like coat it in icing. So it had that like, say it was like on a Christmas cake or something, you have that white icing.
Yeah.
And then marzipan's always that sort of eggshell colour.
Yeah.
So you bite in, and there'd be a very thin layer of icing and a very thick layer of marzipan.
Yeah.
Took away the taste of everything.
Tricked you.
Game over.
Ruined.
It'll be a blue Christmas for me. So yeah, I guess he's safe around me.
Yeah, but not me.
But not you. But just going back to sort of those underlying, there's almost like psychological approaches to characters that they're not done in a way that's going to confuse anyone. It's not like flipping, Inception or anything.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. But I quite liked that approach, and I thought it was a very good example to set for children as well. And this is kind of what they did in the other film as well. It just felt a bit more like a modern approach to it.
Yeah.
And saying that like why, like you see like in it why he's a bully. Like rather than just saying he's a bully, and then at the end him getting his just desserts.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more to them, isn't there? Like and like you say, it does set a good precedent for kids to know that, because I mean that's something you try and teach kids, isn't it? They're like if somebody's mean to you, there's probably a reason behind that. Like people aren't just mean for no reason. There's something's made them like that. So it's again, make sure your kids watch till the end of the film, because otherwise
there's lessons to be learned.
Gregory's just going to be like the new evil. Him and Krampus as a tag team. That's going to be their night.
Yeah, it's going to be just Gregory hiding in the closet. But yeah, I think like, and what's great, like the story, it's almost episodic.
Yeah.
Like it seems to go in so many different places, but not in a way that's gonna like make you think like what is going on. It's like a nice pace, I thought. Yeah,
I thought it worked well. Like I think one thing I did notice as well, which again is similar to Agatha Christie, is like I feel like sometimes people didn't seem to react to the stuff again. Don't know if you found this, but like when Julius, because like what happens is he's got this toy box with his little bits in and his marzipan pig, and then like one time he just hears the voice coming out of it, and then he has to touch the lake in order to like he gets transported inside the Christmas world, and he falls down this giant like sort of spiral ladder of like it's like what is it, like concertinaed card or something like that, onto a lake, and at no point does he ever go, where am I, or like whoa, what's happening? And then eventually Gregory and Squeak fall in, and they never once react to the fact that
they like, particularly Gregory is just dead set on like following Julius to the ends of the earth. He really
so determined. Like he doesn't stop to think what's happened at all.
Where am I? It's just like, where is he?
Yeah, where is he?
Yeah,
which I found very weird.
I mean, because it's what makes him a great villain.
Yeah, that is true.
Determination.
Not one thing sidetracks his one-track mind.
Yeah,
it is on point all the time. But yeah, I did find that odd that people didn't. That there's like certain things where it's like, oh, he's not really. I don't know whether he's not taken that in, or he just doesn't seem to be bothered by that, or is this kind of what he thought in the first place was happening? I think I don't know whether I was overthinking it a bit, or it was just.
I mean, it could be something that obviously it's targeted at a young group, so it could be something that really, wouldn't their minds that much. But I do know what you mean. At the same time, there was just certain reactions.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of missed those sort of like sparkly moments where it's like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like a big sweeping reveal of like, look where I am. Or the same happens when he does, spoiler alert, find Santa.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a little hug, isn't there, which is quite nice. Like when they first meet, but it's not really the kind of what you'd kind of expect from a film when he's like finally got to the thing that he was looking for. Yeah, it's just a quick like squeeze, and then we're on to the back to Gregory plotting.
Yeah, and he's like, but he's like, this kid loves Christmas. He's just found, he just thinks he's found out that Santa Claus is not real.
Yeah.
And then he's really upset about it, like distraught. Then he's tasked to go and save Christmas. And obviously this is what's going to, bring him back into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
And then that meeting of Santa Claus should be the final confirmation that his dreams are real.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it kind of is underplayed a little bit there.
yeah. Like his whole purpose, like the title of the film, doesn't really get more than like a split-second moment of like whatever. Like, so yeah. That was a bit weird. But I think I don't know if they sort of keep kind of a very mild tone throughout, don't they? Like it's very like it dips sometimes into the villainy and stuff, and then but like. It's pretty like Julius's determination and like his sort of mood is it pretty much stays in the middle throughout. It's sort of like a consistent life. So yeah, it's weird that it never really peaks to the places when you think it's going to. And
especially for a Christmas film.
Yeah.
I guess it needs to do that a little bit.
Yeah, I did think it was missing those like super Christmassy moments.
And I couldn't help but feel like I think what I felt it needed, and I was surprised I felt it needed it, but it could do with some songs in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like there's a few bits where you're like, oh, is a song gonna come? And I guess maybe that's just not something these guys do, and that's fair enough. But it did feel like the kind of film that would benefit from a few songs. Yeah,
just kind of like mix things up a bit, like liven things a little. Yeah, I definitely agree on that point.
I think I did really like the elves.
Yeah.
They were like pretty funny as well.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. Yeah, I'm sure I giggled a couple of times at some of the stuff that they did.
Yeah, like that one with the little recorder that's like doo 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 doo.
Oh yeah, it constantly just whips that out when they're trying to be stealthy all the time.
Yeah.
And there's that whole scene as well, isn't there, where they're trying to get the Santa suit, and there's one of them's like reaching in with a candy cane trying to steal Krampus's Santa suit off the hanger, and he just can't reach it, and then he just gives up and walks in and grabs it eventually.
Yeah, with like just a really like defeatist look on his face.
Yeah, like that was a pretty fun moment. That kind of took you out of it for a sec. That was like that was a little giggle.
I think one thing, and this is silly, really. I mean, it's a niggly point, but I don't know if you noticed, especially at the start, they've got all these like opening images, sort of thing of the world around, and it looks really nice. And you can see like it starts putting up the cast names, and then when it actually does the big titles, they look really cheap. I just kind of was like, oh. I don't know. I guess after all those beautiful pictures, like like a crow on the standing stones and things like that, you're like, oh, this is like they've done a really nice job, like with this, because obviously they're photographs of actual scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's a niggly thing. It's nothing.
But yeah, it's just some of those things that you notice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think going back to the elves as well, like is what I found weird about them was that weren't they gnomes and not elves?
They looked like gnomes, but I guess like who's to say what an elf looks like?
It's just that now we're experts on gnomes after watching an episode. David.
Yeah, after and I urge everyone to go back and listen to the episode about David the Gnome. You might think I've never watched that, I'm not interested, but go listen, watch David the Gnome. Actually, I mean, I'm really upset actually. Obviously, every now and again I'll post a few videos on the social medias. I discovered some really upsetting news about David the Gnome. Some people have seen it and they will know. For some it will be a spoiler alert, but I just can't not share this sad news. He actually I think in the last episode, I'm guessing he died.
What?
Yeah. David the Gnome it dies at the end of the series. You know, he spends every people, and the only person he can't save is himself.
Oh, man.
It's horrible, isn't it?
That's heavy. He's the doctor. He's the one that. Oh man.
Well, it's no wonder the world's going to pot.
Yeah, David the Gnome is gone.
But yeah. Well, so that's really soured the mood for the Christmas episode. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all.
To all.
Even and David the Gnome's widow especially.
Oh, just
Christmas.
the Gnome Kingdom.
Oh man,
and apparently the Elf Kingdom as well.
But what's that?
And apparently the Elf Kingdom as well, because those guys.
Yeah, I know. Because they cross over apparently.
They've got it.
There's a weird half breed. Yeah, I thought it was odd that they looked very much like gnomes to me. I'm sure there's probably some fantasy people out there that are like, they're very different species, elves and gnomes, and it's like they have their own genealogy and everything. But yes, I was like, oh, it's quite funny. But it was cool because it was different, wasn't it? It's like not what you expect. Like you used to, guy in a big green hat with some stripy socks and stuff. So it was quite cool to have them like a little different. And I liked how their beards looked as well. That their beards were sort of like made out of like clusters of rocks or whatever it looked like. Yeah, it was really cool.
And I will say as well, like this film, when I started thinking about it, I was like, this must be the only kids film that I can think of that has Krampus in it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't know who Krampus was until that horror film came out.
Yeah, same there. I think that was kind of when it got into sort of like the public consciousness, isn't it? Like,
I guess outside of
Europe,
this region, I guess, where this made as well, Northern Europe. But yeah, like we'd never really heard of Krampus.
No.
So it's cool to see and he is a fun Krampus.
Yeah.
He's a naughty Krampus. So I quite liked that as well. That it's like, how has no one ever done this?
Yeah. It did make it really cool. And it does make you think like maybe some other people could start introducing him, because I guess it's just another one of those things where it's like, kids could be scared of him a little bit, but obviously the way that they dealt with him in here, it turned out not to be too scary or whatever. So you can kind of get rid of that down the line, and it's just like something different to add to the mix of a Christmas story, isn't it? Like, yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, he was pretty fun, and I couldn't quite figure out who his voice sounded like. I was like, was it like Dr. Doofenshmirtz from like Phineas and Ferb or something? Like it's someone. It was very recognizable, like the kind of voice he was going for. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I was like, yeah, I'm sure I've heard this like a lot. But it fit the character well, like with what he did.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Well, on that note, shall we jump into our review section?
Yes.
And now a minute's silence to honour David the Gnome. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. Okay, so here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up, Santa Claus is coming to town, baby. Thumbs down, oh no, he's been chopped into 5 pieces.
No.
Shaky middle, your heart as you open a present filled with one of his limbs. And then realise it's just a teddy bear.
Ooh, that is shaky middle.
Okay, so it basically, essentially, thumbs up, thumbs down, shaky middle, pretty straightforward. Jay, your thoughts on Finding Santa?
Finding Santa, yeah. I think visually it's definitely something that intrigued me. I really like the way the characters look. The environments were really nice. Like the way things moved was pretty cool. It was really cool having that blend of different styles and stuff. And it just made me want to like go and try and recreate some stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder how you do that. Like, yeah, it was really nice. Fit the theme really well. Like I said, I think it did kind of miss some of those sort of like token Christmas movie moments where it was like, you know, there's like sparkles and good times and stuff. Like it never really sort of like reached the sort of fun, warm, kind of fuzzy Christmas feeling that I think people go into a lot of Christmas films kind of hoping for. Even the conclusion at the end of the orphanage was like, it was kind of nice because they were all like singing together and stuff, but then it just kind of panned out to like the grim orphanage to almost just like put the nail in the coffin of like, yeah, but they still have no parents. Boom. Like, and then credits. It's like, where's the good times? It just felt like it was missing a lot of that. Yeah, there's definitely some terrifying moments in there, even though they are revealed in the end. And then yeah, sometimes, you know, some things kind of got lost in communication maybe, and got a bit distracted by some details and people not reacting to stuff. So I wasn't sure of the importance of some stuff because it was like, oh, well, he doesn't care about that clearly, so whatever. So for me, I think it looks great and stuff, and like I did like some of the differences for normal Christmas movies, but I think it overall it just wasn't. It wasn't like a super happy Christmas film that I think a lot of people kind of expect from a Christmas film somewhere in the end. You know, like it some stuff just never really felt resolved in a way. So for me, I think it's going to be a shaky middle in the end.
Shaky middle. Okay, well, I think it feels like a kind of film where, yeah, if what you're going in for is like that sort of warm Christmas cookies feeling, that's like an extreme feeling, then perhaps this is not like completely there. But I think it does have a sort of more of an air of what they're trying to go for is like the true feeling of and together, kind to each other. And there's a lot of that, like sort of the message is that, you know, is be kind to each other no matter what, because kindness begets kindness.
Yeah,
and I think it's a really nice message. And to be honest, afterwards, after watching it, I did feel quite Christmassy. I don't know if it's because
really?
Yeah, and it's like because they sort of came together, you know, they came out of like they were friends at the end, and it's that whole Silent Night feeling. It's not like over, you know, over joyous, bombastic Christmas, but it was a nice sort of more realistic Christmas.
Yeah.
And never once did it really feel like Christmas is good presents. I thought that was good. Like presents were obviously in it, and there's all the stuff about, you know, coal and stuff like that. But really, that it was never stressed that that's why Christmas is good. And obviously it's kind of a strange thing because Santa is all about presents, really.
Yeah.
But it was about love and, you know, being kind to one another, which I thought was a really nice message. I thought it looked really great.
Yeah.
I still think some of the voice acting They've obviously got some of the same people from before, and I think I pulled up before that it's not the best, and I think some of the characters kind of suffer from that, but equally it's not the worst. But I do think it's a nice Christmas film. It's something different, and definitely something that you could go and watch and like enjoy and say, oh yeah, like we watched this film, and it's a nice little Christmas film. So personally, I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Oh,
it was sort of like the Wizard of Oz of Christmas films. He goes to Christmas land, he meets a marzipan pig, a Christmas angel, and some elves, and then they go about, and there's Krampus, who's like the witch. They're looking for the wizard. But instead of a man behind a curtain, it's actually Santa Claus.
Santa and a ball,
yeah. And I liked as well, we haven't really talked about it, that they did something different with Santa in the way his presents work. So he doesn't put all his presents in his sleigh.
That was quite cool.
Elves take them out, and then he delivers like the odd bit or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a nice way of explaining it. So yeah, I think it was good. I think it was nice, and it was a cozy Christmas film, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was cozy enough. Yeah.
And it was interesting. So a thumbs up and a shaky middle.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good
bad at
review.
all.
Yeah, that's a good review, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're interested in watching Finding Santa: A Christmas Adventure, you can do so on digital streaming platforms such as Amazon, Vimeo On Demand, Fandango, iTunes, Vudu, Google Play, and FlixFling. So if you have any of those or use any of those, you can find it there. Easy peasy. Just search for Finding Santa: A Christmas Adventure and check it out, and let us know what you think. We'd love to know, and you can do so on the 3 lumps of coal of the internet: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Toon Jam Pod. And yeah, get in touch with us. Let us know what you think. If you've got any Christmas things that you'd like to share with us, then go ahead. We're always happy to do so. Or if you've got any requests, also, we're here to help along the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, or indeed any of our episodes, please rate and review us on whatever it is you listen to us on it, because it really, really helps us out. It helps people find us and helps us grow the podcast. But otherwise, thank you for listening. And of course, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Join us again next week for another Merry Christmas episode.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And until then, you stay festively jammy. Something like cranberry flavour.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you, and stay jammy.